I'm Evelyn, and I'm a Geoholic.
Sitting on the park bench, eyeing little girls with bad intent.
Snot is running down his nose.
I love it.
Oh, man. Well, dude, this is a big day.
It is a big day.
Big day for sure.
Buckle up, Geoholics.
Yes. Welcome back to Geoholics, episode 283.
Yes, 283, believe it or not.
283. A lot of significance to this episode, if you think about it.
There is.
The biggest one being, of course, so we are in the new studio for the first time.
We are in the brand new, well, not brand new, new to us.
Yes.
Studio for the first time. First recorded episode.
Indeed.
We may have a little echo, but I think we'll be okay.
We got to work out a few things.
Yeah, we got some things to work on.
The space is amazing and the move went extremely well, and I am excited about this location.
I am too.
I think that we're going to do great things here.
I have that same
We're
feeling.
even going to have our name on the sign out front by the road.
No.
Man,
and it's closer to our houses.
Closest, yes, and there's a bar not
Separate.
far.
Yes.
Like a few bars. We have our choice.
Exactly.
In a strip club.
I mean, it checks all the boxes.
Everything is right here. Man, oh man. I did call it, I called it the doghouse because I sent some pictures to the girls and, of course, my son-in-laws. I'm like,
yeah,
this is the doghouse. So whenever Will and Nick get in trouble,
there's the couch.
There's the couch. They can just come and crash here. Yeah,
absolutely.
They got a big kick out of that. But other than that, had a great event this last weekend in Idaho, in Boise. Boise. It's not Boise. It's Boise.
That's what I heard.
And super cool Idaho initial point celebration. It was at the old penitentiary.
Cool.
Which was very cool. Built like in the late 1800s. Was in commission until like 1970, I think. But just a very, very cool setting. One of the cool fun facts about this penitentiary is the inmates built it for the most part.
Oh, really?
Yes. They built all the buildings, and like some of the funny stories about how like the craftsmanship is crappy in a lot of places and stuff like that. But just, it reminded me of the Green Mile.
Okay. Yeah.
That's a prison
I can
one,
picture
right?
that. Yeah.
Yeah. It was just like that. It was really, really cool. And BLM did a great job, putting it all together. And, it was just an amazing event.
I mean, how passionate are you to the quality of your work when you're building the building that you're going to eventually have to be incarcerated in?
Yeah, it's a very good question.
I mean, if you're going to cut corners, that's probably where it's going to happen.
Probably. But we've posted some pictures of the event. We'll post some more. I can't wait for the interviews to get posted because we talked to some amazing people and it was a lot of fun.
I look like it.
And the weather was beautiful. Couldn't have been nicer. And I love Boise. Super cool little town. Yeah, I really enjoyed it. What else? What's up with you?
Just getting over this move. Let's see here. Getting ready for some trips coming up this summer. The summer's here, so
yeah. We should mention next week we're going to be at Topo.user conference.
You and Russ are.
Russ and I will be. Yep. So looking forward to that one as well.
Yeah, 10th anniversary of the Topo.user conference.
Yeah, and they always do a great job. So I'm excited to see.
I am very, very upset. Can't make it
next year.
Yeah, they do it right.
They do
at the hospitality place, right? Oh yeah, they do it. They always do it great.
Yep. And I failed to mention that this episode is powered by MLID, making aerial and terrestrial surveys faster and easier than ever before. To find out more, go to mlid.com.
Outside of this, has the dust settled? Being a grandpa, are you?
Pretty much.
Have you gotten to the routine now?
Pretty much. Yeah.
Have you done? It's too early yet to do any babysitting.
Have not babysat. Okay. Yeah, not quite yet. I would imagine that's coming down the pipe though here. I mean, guess what? This Sunday is Mother's Day. So it's going to be a very special Mother's Day for my daughters.
Wait, is that this Sunday?
Yes.
Wait, you mean this upcoming Sunday?
Yes, like in 2 days.
Oh, jeez.
Or 3. However you look at it.
Okay.
Get on it, buddy.
On it. Consider it on.
Thanks for the reminder. We got Russ with us, of course. Russ, how are you, buddy?
Good. How are you?
Doing great.
That's good. Welcome to the Grandfather Club, my friend.
I appreciate that. I'm excited to be there.
Yes. No, it's a great place to be. It's a great place.
I know you
to be able to hand them back when they go to the bathroom in their diapers or they're screaming. It's a different dynamic. It's very enjoyable.
That's super cool. What else is new with you? I'll see you next week at Tuck.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. So I'm going to be there. I'm going to be there, for Langen and then with the Geoholics and then also running the ASPRS booth.
Wow. You're wearing a lot of hats, Russ.
Yes. A lot of hats.
There's what, like 10 booths in there anyway, but
yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
It's going to be a lot of Russ in that room.
That is a lot of Russ for one room for sure.
It is a lot of Russ for one room.
Good point. But it'll be good. I'm looking forward to it. It's one of the better events of the year every year.
Absolutely. Yeah. Ted throws and the whole team, they do an amazing job at Tuck.
Absolutely. Appreciate you being here tonight. Looking forward to the conversation we're about to have. Our weekly updates brought to you by Topodot, of course. The Topodot User Conference is celebrating 10th anniversary, which we just mentioned. Join the Topodot community at Tuck 26 in Orlando next week, May 11th through the 15th.
Wow.
Unfortunately, by the time this gets out, it'll be old news.
Yeah. And by the time anyone hears this, it would already been past Mother's Day. So it didn't really help anybody but me. But
all right. Tell us about that really cool song.
Jethro Tull. Song is I think that's the one song everyone knows. Aqualung.
Yes.
Jethro Tull, legendary British rock band formed in 1967 and led by iconic frontman Ian Anderson, known for his blending progressive rock, folk, blues, and hard rock into a sound unlike any other. Famous for Anderson's energetic performances and signature flute playing, the band rose to prominence in the 1970s with classic albums like Aqualung and Thick as Brick, becoming one of the most influential and enduring acts in classic rock history.
Believe it or not, I've seen them.
I would not doubt that at all.
I have seen them live.
Was that in the 70s or?
It was about 8 years ago.
Okay.
Yep. I was right before COVID, I think. That's super entertaining. It was great.
I'm
it was
sure
awesome. The guy with the flute. It's like he's a front man with a flute.
I know. It's
crazy. It is crazy. Yeah. And didn't they do like a really funny Saturday Night Live skit with that flute and that song? I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. I think so. Yeah. I know what you're talking about. Yep. The one thing I remember about Jethro Tull the most is I think it was the Grammys, and it was either one of the early years when heavy metal was a category.
Yeah.
And Jethro Tull won and beat Metallica this year.
Oh my gosh.
And the Metallica guys still talk about losing to the Grammy. It's either hard rock or metal, but it was that category. They lost to Jethro Tull.
Oh my gosh. I would consider that an upset, probably.
I would think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, Russ agrees.
Yes.
Russ agrees. Our song of the week brought to you, as always, by Altera Central, your Trimble dealer for all things survey mapping and even marine gear. Check out alteracentral.com for more.
Yeah, I was just by there this morning, actually. No, yesterday. Yeah.
Did you see our buddy Scott? Was he around?
No, it was like 9:00, so he's not in yet.
He's not in yet, no.
No, just dropping off a loaner. Those guys do a good job. We need some help. Just got a loaner out quick to us.
Nice.
And good stuff.
Very cool. Next up, we got our Leica Geosystems weekly pro tip. What you got here, Sean?
Okay, here we go. Technology changes fast, but fundamentals matter forever. The professionals who win long-term are the ones who stay curious, adapt early, and never stop learning. That's how industries evolve and careers evolve with them.
That's a pretty good tip.
Yeah, where'd you get that?
Does it matter?
I'm just curious. I mean, is it a KG original, or is this a chatbot hallucination?
The latter.
Oh, okay, got it.
Yes. But quality stuff right there.
Yeah, I like it.
To find out more about Leica Geosystems, visit leicageosystems.com. Leica, when it has to be right. I love that tagline. Let's get our guest.
Well, let's do that.
Here, our guest this week is.
Oh, wait. Before we bring it.
Yeah. You want to do a
cheers to the new studio?
Yeah, there you go. Cheers, buddy.
Yeah. A lot of good.
I don't think
things are going to happen.
I don't think these glasses have been washed in like a month. So, but who cares? Well seasoned.
Yeah, retains the flavor.
Yeah.
Nobody would know.
Yeah.
That is really smooth.
It is. It is
Holy
very good.
Crap. All right. Our guest this week is brought to you by David Evans and Associates. To find out about the DEA difference, visit DEAINC.com. I failed to mention that my good friend Josh Miller, coworker, was my guest co-host at the event in Idaho this past weekend.
Cool.
He did a really good job.
Yeah.
Did a really good job. He'd probably like to have your job, but he can't do it. There's only one producer, Sean.
I mean, who are you telling? I mean, I know this.
You
but
know that,
I
yeah.
like you putting it out there.
Of course. All right. We have Karen Schuckman with us this week. She's born in Hartford, Connecticut. She attended Penn State, where she got a degree in liberal arts and meteorology, of all things. She also attended Fresno State, where she studied surveying and photogrammetry. We're going to talk about both those things at length. Her current role, she's a subject matter expert for remote sensing and geospatial services at RRC Companies. Fun fact about Karen, she was an alternate gymnast at the 1972 Olympics.
That's amazing.
Isn't that cool?
Mhm.
I have so many questions.
Well, I'm going to give you an opportunity here in 2 seconds. Karen, welcome to the Geoholics. Thanks for being here.
Hey, how are you guys tonight?
Oh, we're great.
We are fantastic. Sean, go ahead with your gymnastics.
You're very entertaining.
I've
I'm
got-
going to sit here and
I've
not
got a
say
bunch-
a word.
I've got a bunch of them. The first thing I think of is who won the gold in the women's all around that year.
Oh, God. I'm pretty sure it was Ludmila Tereshcheva, but Olga Korbut made her debut there.
Okay, I
that's
knew
cool.
there was something. Yeah, okay, that's right.
Yeah,
That is
that,
awesome.
but there was still like the Russian women were predominant at that time.
That was pre Mary Lou Retton, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, a
Well,
little
pre
bit.
72 was Olga Korbut, 76 was Nadia.
Nadia, that's right.
Mary
yeah,
Lou
yeah.
is later on.
Later.
Yeah.
Like, okay.
What's your,
84 Olympics, right?
I think 84.
Yeah, I don't know. I was kind of, I had moved on by then.
Karen, what's your fondest memory of the 1972 Olympics?
My fondest memory? Oh, that is not usually what people ask me about that particular Olympics. if you
Well,
recall.
isn't that the Munich Olympics?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's a lighthearted,
Yeah.
politics-free show here, so we're gonna
Yeah.
we're gonna gloss over that one.
Next question.
What was what was your best event?
In gymnastics?
Yes.
It sort of evolved at different times in my career. I don't know. I always liked, I liked everything but vault. Like yeah. And at that time, when you went to the Olympics, everyone had to do all around. There were they did not.
There were
allow
no special. Oh, okay.
Right. That changed in, I'm not sure, like later on, maybe the 80s or 90s or so. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
So we had to do everything.
Gotcha. So we talked about your bio a little bit yesterday. And one of the questions that I need to re-ask you is, what are you passionate about?
Yeah.
Because you said you have a different answer today, so I'm so curious.
I know. Well, really. And we're going to, I know we're going to talk about technology and, new technology and bleeding edge things and lidar and so on. But I have to say, actually, I started out, I went to Fresno State. I had no idea what photogrammetry was. I thought I was going to be a surveyor and, go out in the field and cut brush and set up a tripod and so on. And I really I thought that photogrammetry stuff is really weird. They have these old instruments and so on. But I have to say, photogrammetry is so, a bundle adjustment it's just so elegant. And I think, people today, they think photogrammetry is what you do with a drone when you the structure for motion and everything is push button automatic and you produce an orthophoto.
Mm-hmm.
But honestly, the concept and the geometry of an aerial photo bundle adjustment, it's really just, it's so elegant and beautiful. And people figured it, they figured it out long before they had computers to be able to solve the equations.
So crazy. So who's
and I still, it's just still aerial triangulation is still just, I just love it.
Yeah. Is there a I don't know, a father or mother of photogrammetry?
Is there one?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I think, God, caught me off guard here to answer this question. I mean, there are, I guess, a number of, luminary people, especially, at different times. There's, oh my gosh, I should know.
Okay.
I mean, especially, you look back through, I think it's hard for me to just pick one because there are so many.
Yeah.
You look back through the list of past presidents of ASPRS. It's on the website.
Sure.
So many just really brilliant and creative, and people who they were so brilliant and so creative and so understated. No one ever got famous for being a photogrammetrist, but with the work that they did was so important. And and they really did it just for the love of it.
Yeah, for sure. So once like lidar came onto the scene, I think everybody, falsely thought that lidar was going to replace photogrammetry.
Well, people thought high resolution satellites were going to put aerial photography, aerial survey out of business.
Yeah.
That was in like 1990 when had started at USGS, U.S. Geological Survey, and the National Mapping Division, and everybody thought, space imaging was going to put all the aerial survey companies out of business.
Yeah. Well, that clearly didn't happen.
They're still working on it.
They're still working on it.
It's just it's different. It takes people a while to understand the strengths and weaknesses of these different technologies over time, and how they all actually just, each one has its application. And then when we bring them all, we have them all at our disposal, then there's really so much that we can do.
Yeah. And we talked about it a little bit before we brought you on, but what are the what are the ideal applications now for photogrammetry versus lidar? I mean,
obviously photogrammetry is about imagery, right? So lidar is really, the point cloud is wonderful, but it's really best when blended with imagery. So, and then, you can make point clouds from imagery also, as, people are doing now routinely with structure for motion. But again, the part of photogrammetry that I think people have it's sort of lost. It got lost in the popularization of the word photogrammetry as being associated with drones and such. Stereo compilation is still, it's still a really important component of making the data that we want to capture, the reality capture, the high resolution topo. Yes, lidar gives us billions and billions of points, but this stereo compilation of break lines and features is still, it's not, you cannot do that any other way. And you always see people that should, we can just drape the imagery over we can drape the imagery on the terrain and automatically extract features.
Yep.
It doesn't work like a photogrammetrist would. It's not the same as having it produced photogrammetrically.
Yeah. Russ, you got something to say?
Yeah, I will say, so people, let me try to think of I was trying to think of how to phrase this. A really good stereo compiler, if that's what you would call it, is that fair to say? They can rip through data very quickly, faster than, especially on large scale land, faster than someone using point cloud software almost all the time. It impresses me to no end, but it depends. It always depends on what the use case is, what your accuracies are, right? So they're not always apples to apples, but people that are really good at stereo, that they can tear through stuff fast. It's an art form.
Right. Well, and let's also remember, a lot of this data gets used in CAD. Yep. CAD is not particularly good at using point clouds, right? It's based on points, lines, and polygons. So how do you get from that, point cloud data to data that can be effectively used in a CAD system?
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Well, therein still lie all the principles of photogrammetry still apply to that, and all of the skills of the mapping and the stereo compilers that were built up over years. Looking at stereo imagery, a lot of those skills can still be applied, bringing the lidar point cloud in as another source.
Yeah. Is that a full-time job, the stereo compiler? Is that like it's a specialty job? Right?
It is a job. Yes, it is. Yep.
Is that something that is that a AI replaceable function, or is it something that a person with a brain has to
good question
see it? And you said it's more like an art. Can you train a model to do it?
I'm the last person who's going to say I know everything that AI is going to be able to do. So, honestly, I really don't know. But it's so it's very visual. It's very contextual, and it requires a lot of interpretation, and it requires this like visual cognition that I think would be pretty difficult to.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah. I would imagine there's a human component to it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. What do you think, Russ?
So, well, I'm assuming now from these questions, neither of you have ever looked through a stereo. Is that
I've not.
No, I just hear.
So
Yeah, I think it's this.
Right.
I think you're right.
Listen, you can't explain it unless once you see it, you're like, oh, that's what they were talking
Yeah,
about.
I had to look
kind of
it up
like
so I know what you're talking about.
Go ahead, Russ.
No, I was gonna say it's kind of like a magic eye. It's kind of interesting too because I think if you have like a stigmatism, correct me if I'm wrong, Karen, but like certain people can't do it because of eye problem. Like they like
some people can't see.
Some people can't see it,
but
but it's in the stereo. But it's like a magic eye, and when you get it to focus right, it's really neat. Definitely should check it out next time at one of the survey, FSMS or somebody who's going to have one around.
Okay, this is a really this is a really kind of a strange aside, but I will tell you how I was very first introduced to the concept of stereo imagery was in a class in meteorology. Now, I had to take a class at Penn State. We had a very great meteorology department at Penn State, still do. But we had one of the courses that the majors took was in observing meteorological phenomena. And the professor had an incredible collection of imagery, like literally stereo pairs of clouds that he had taken, like when he was flying in a plane, flying in an aircraft, and he would take pictures, see an interesting cloud formation or a meteorological phenomena and snap a picture, and then the plane would move and he'd snap another picture. So he would, get the stereo pair.
Yeah.
Well, I had never heard, none of us had ever really heard of this before, but when we would go to class, he'd have slide projectors in the back of the room projecting these, the left image, you have to cross them on screens in the front of the room, and we would all sit in the back, and if you cross your eyes a certain way, you would be, you looked at both images and you cross your eyes, you would see the third virtual image in stereo.
Wow.
And who knew later I was going to become a photogrammetrist, but that was actually my first introduction to stereo imagery.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you just, you think you understand what you're looking at when you see a 3D model rotating on a 2-dimensional screen, and everybody thinks, oh, well, that's 3D. Until you actually see it in a stereo display, you don't understand how different it is to get that sense of depth.
Gotcha.
It's so interesting.
Yeah. So interesting. So real quick, I gotta interject here. So French scientist and military officer, I'm going to blow this name, Amy Laussadat, maybe, is the father of photogrammetry, but Talbert Abrams is the father of aerial photogrammetry.
Interesting.
Yes, this is what I was saying. These are all, if you, when you give the lecture on the history of photogrammetry, these are the names that you come up with, right?
Sure.
Because it was photogrammetry evolved very early, almost with the evolution of photography, and they were trying to take photos from balloons and so on. So anyway, we're not getting to these questions at all.
We normally don't.
Can I ask
these questions in advance, and now you're asking me everything completely different?
And you're doing it.
That's right. Yeah, that's right.
I just to get back to my original point, I think there's just a certain elegance in the idea that you create a block of you have all these overlapping stereo or overlapping photographs, and that you tie them together with these rays of light, kind of like the string diagram, and in doing that, recreate this 3D scene. And the mathematics aren't really, it's not rocket science mathematics, but it's just elegant. it's just really kind of it's it's just pretty beautiful. And I think and the people that are learning photogrammetry now, using drone photography, you have so much overlapping imagery now, and you can do it's all automated. The tying together, the tying together of the image points is all done completely automatically. Like, they don't have the experience of having to find like the 6 von Gruber points and and make a pug mark in a diapositive and actually put that in a stereo plotter and orient the photos. If you just go through that exercise a couple of times, you will understand.
Change your perspective, right?
Yeah, like you'll understand, you have some clue as to what's going on in that black box when you push the button and out pops your ortho photo.
Yeah, for sure. What do you got, Russ?
Well, okay. I know we talked about the Olympics before, but it's just an interesting. It's not the Olympics. No.
Infatuated with this Olympics
quickly.
Yeah,
but Karen was also one of the first 17 women to receive an athletic scholarship at Penn State, and she was the first woman in any sport at PSU to earn All-American status.
Wow.
That's
did you find that on Google?
That is cool.
I found that with
It is
Claude, but
awesome.
I just felt like I couldn't brush past that. That's
no doubt.
Yeah.
cool.
Actually, well, I know there's some. I happened to come here. I enrolled as a freshman at the end of 1973. Well, spring of 1973. So I competed at nationals in 1974, and I won the all-around, surprisingly. And that was the year, and that Penn State had varsity women's sports at that time, but Title IX, which was passed in 1972, was just actually going into effect. Like, there was the implementation was there. So they legally had the ability to give a woman an athletic scholarship. So I got my tuition paid as a sophomore.
Wow.
That technically was the first athletic scholarship given to a woman.
That is cool.
It's so cool. Was it something that was unexpected, or were you trying to pursue that?
Totally unexpected.
Wow,
Totally.
that's neat.
Yeah.
Wow.
Because I went to the Olympics in 72, and as like there were elements of it that was not a great experience. Let's put it that way.
Sure.
And not just not the terrorism, although I have to say that I think for me that was the first experience of terrorism for a lot of us, right?
Yeah.
But it was, that was a hard way to live. I, through high school and, not have any social life. And then, what am I going to do with the rest of my life? I don't want to, I have a brain. I want to, I have intellectual capabilities. Like, what am I going to do? But I really never had much time to explore that because, you're busy in the gym all the time.
Yeah.
So what? You just woke up and you're like, you know what? I'll become a surveyor. Like, how did that actually happen? You get back, you graduate, and then it's like, what am I going to do? How did you transition?
But so I just, it's a long story, how I ended up coming to Penn State, but I really just went into the gym as a way of kind of grounding myself as a, new kid. I didn't know a single person here as 25,000 students at that time. It was a very big school. I knew no one. It was like, okay, at least I can just go in the gym and kind of work out, and nobody, just for fun, just for something to do. And I had done been working with a dance coach, and I had some idea, I just wanted to do something kind of artistic. Like, I wanted to do my floor. Now, at that time in gymnastics, you only used a single instrument for your floor exercise music. Now it's all orchestrated. But at the time, it was a single instrument, and everybody used piano because, it's the most expressive instrument. So I was like, I'm going to do something different. So I did as a freshman, I did my floor exercise routine to it was a instrumental piece from Yes called "Mood for a Day."
Oh wow!
Acoustic guitar. And then the second year, I actually, again, long story, but I actually made the acquaintance of a pretty famous cello player that played with group called the Paul Winter Consort. They were kind of new age improvisational music. And so he agreed to write a solo cello piece for me to do my Florex to.
That's
That was like, for me, that was what really motivated me to keep doing gymnastics, because I got to do something that was expressive.
I really
And
thought
I
you were
actually
gonna say
won.
flute.
I won floor exercise at nationals with that routine with the cello. So that was kind of, for me, that was like a much bigger moment in gymnastics than going to the Olympics.
Sure.
Honestly.
Cool.
And it wasn't Yo-Yo Ma, was it? That you're just casually referencing as the cellist? Okay.
No, his name was David Darling. He's passed away now, but you can find his recordings.
Yeah. So you mentioned being a certified photogrammetrist, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, and I know you're really involved with ASPRS as well. So talk about the correlation between ASPRS and, certified photogrammetrists, and just the important role that ASPRS plays in, bringing credibility and standards to these practices.
Yeah, well, now you got me on a topic I could go on for a while, but we find, okay, so what do I like in my job at RRC, or what many of us are doing when we're in the aerial survey industry? We're producing very high resolution, high accuracy base map data. So imagery and topo, and planimetrics, CAD, and so on. This is the data that then becomes what everyone bases all of the GIS analysis and so on and so forth upon this data. We work with, what we do is very closely related to surveying. Obviously, it's becoming closer and closer related to surveying, and we need surveyors to provide the control and help us with provide the basis for georeferencing. And then engineers use our data. And both of those are licensed professions, and we are the bridge between them in a lot of cases to produce all of this data that goes into into engineering projects. And we are not licensed, and so we don't have, I think that I find that to be it's very frustrating as a professional, because, I do have a PLS after my name because I'm licensed as a photogrammetrist in North Carolina. And I got that license back when North Carolina was the first state to actually adopt that model law back in the late 90s.
Okay.
So I do have a PLS, but I'm only supposed to practice what I know, which is photogrammetry.
Yep.
But I just find that to be, this is why ASPRS is so important, and the ASPRS certification program, because we're not regulated by a legislative body. We're not regulated by a state. We're not regulated by the federal government. Through an ASPRS certification program, where we are self-regulating. We are I don't want to say policing, but we are the ones that set the standard for our profession, and as peers, and try to elevate the practice of our profession through that peer recognition. And it's crucial to the industry. So much depends on the accuracy of the work that we produce. And we don't, in most cases, have we don't have a surveyor seal or an engineer seal to put on it. So what do we have in the way of credibility and recognition from the industry, if not the ASPRS certification?
Altera Central. Altera Central is the authorized premier Trimble dealer for survey, mapping, GIS, forensics, and marine equipment in Texas, Oklahoma, Arizona, and New Mexico.
Yeah, we love these guys. The studio sponsor for the Geoholics this year. They have 8 offices and provide sales, rentals, repairs, and support for the full line of Trimble products. GPS, GNSS receivers, robotic total stations, scanners, Seiko accessories, mobile mapping systems, used equipment, and field supplies, including Juniper receivers and tablets, LaserTech troop pulse rangefinders, and micro drone UAVs.
You definitely drew the short
I
straw on
did.
that one. To find out more, go to allterracentral.com.
Let's talk about Carlson Software. Founded in 1983, Carlson Software is a privately owned international market leader in CAD design software, field data collection, laser measurement, and machine control products for the civil engineering, surveying, GIS, construction, accident reconstruction, and mining industries worldwide, providing one-source technology solutions for the entire project cycle.
You're dialed in right now.
I know, right?
Carlson's culture is always on the forefront of adapting and developing new technologies into practical applications while remaining rooted in the down-to-earth industries they serve.
Carlson Software's renowned dedication to customer service is unique in the industry. To find out more, visit
carlsonsw.com. Yeah, Russ, you got something?
So this is a great segue into your explanation into my question. So talking about today's era, right? So now we have these drones, we have machine learning, we even see it in surveying with it's, they've been saying it for decades since the total station button pushing, right? For lack of a better term. So we have these people that are able to, take a drone and hit, basically mission plan an area and it'll, say the overlap and just hit a button and go. And with no formal training and a lot of them without a real understanding of what it's doing fundamentally, right? Like you said, like the how needing like where the tie points are and how errors propagated and all kinds of things like that. So how important is it to get the people who want to get into mapping with drones and stuff like that, get them certified and have them understand what they're doing out there. So they, not only for their businesses, but for the public at whole.
Yeah, that's obviously, we could have a day-long discussion about it, but, I will say, like, the technology is so good. It's amazing, what we're able to do, and just drone is a platform, okay?
Mm-hmm.
It's not the drone or the plane or the helicopter or what have you. It's the sensors, the lidar sensors and the cameras.
Mm-hmm.
That's where the heart of the technology, regardless of what we fly it on. We've come so far in terms of the processing of the data and we have so much data, having so much overlap and such high resolution imagery and these incredibly dense point clouds, we have a lot there that we can process, automated way, and using AI to do point cloud classification and even, extraction of features and so on. Mm-hmm. However, like what I find in my daily work, it's not the operating of the technology that makes or breaks the project. It's not the quality of the sensor. Yes, it matters. Planning the control properly. Yes, it matters. But those things aren't, if you do your homework, you buy a decent sensor, you understand how to use the software, you can produce this very, very high quality, high resolution data. Mm-hmm. The problems generally when problems occur, the problems aren't with that data. Mm-hmm. It's with the survey. Something real, and I won't say that the survey is wrong. What I'm trying to say is that we're bringing, like in my work, we're bringing new lidar data, new imagery collection mm-hmm. into a project where there's already a lot of other existing data. There's boundary surveys, there are preliminary engineering designs, there's a lot of other data. We're expected, and we can produce data that is so accurate. This like QL0 lidar, easy peasy to do it now. we're talking 3-4 centimeter RMSE. Bringing that together with a lot of other legacy data. If you don't understand coordinate systems and datum transfer, you have to really, honestly, it's not even surveying, it's geodesy.
It's geodesy. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And it is going to get nothing but more complicated because the tighter the accuracies that we're going after, the more we have to consider things like, changes in the gravity field and all of the dynamic things that are going on the Earth's surface that are affecting this position, this positional data that's tied to the Earth. So that's on the one side. Like, I think really where what is really driving my interest and my passion and commitment to what I'm doing is, like, we're chasing after such high accuracy, and we really all have to become way more knowledgeable about surveying. And I'm not talking boundary surveying here. Like, I'm talking again about geodesy.
Yeah.
How much geodesy is in like survey curriculums? I don't know. I've never taken a survey curriculum. So
I have no idea right now. I couldn't.
I mean, the NGS just got like decimated because a lot of the old people that had all the knowledge, they're trying to hire people. You can go research the numbers. How many civil engineering graduates are there per year? How many surveying graduate 4-year degree surveyors are there graduating per year? Those are surveyors. I think it's in like some hundred, like 400 or 500 a year or something. Geodesists and photogrammetrists, it's probably like single digits.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. It's like it's a specialization, really, and
it is. But it's like it's the glue that holds it all, that holds all of this other stuff together. So anyway, I think that's on the one side. The other side is using the data. I see this every single day working with engineers who are working in CAD, and they have workflows that they are very tied to that they can't adapt. They really can't use the data that we're producing without making second, third, fourth generation derivative products from it. Charlie. and therein also lies a lot of what we were talking about before.
Yeah.
Like, I would not attempt to produce a high accuracy, like a land XML topo, CAD surface from lidar data alone without photogrammetrically compiled stereo break lines to it, because you're taking gigabytes, terabytes of point cloud data, and then you have, like, let's say, typical 4,000 acre project, 90 gigabytes of lidar data, and the engineer wants a 250 megabyte land XML file. Now you tell me how you're going to get all of that information over there into there, right? So the understanding of how to decimate the data, how to add the break lines. This gets right back to Russ's point, that it's the photogrammetrist who's looking at that and can say, and looking at that in conjunction with the lidar point cloud, because that's possible to do. In fact, you can even create stereo pairs out of lidar intensity images, deciding where to put the break lines. And how to thin the lidar data. This is not something that there are many people out there that will tell you there's a button that you can push that will do that. And I will tell you they do not, that it doesn't work that way.
I did look it up. There is some estimates about 20 advanced geodesy graduates each year in the U.S. Here's another crazy fact. In China, they graduate 9,000 geodesy students a year.
That's interesting.
And the U.S. has 20.
Yeah.
Huh. That's suspicious.
That's not going to work out. But
Yeah.
so yeah, that
So
easy
anyway,
button
like I
just
said,
isn't
you know,
here, Karen. The easy button isn't here. It's in China. You just have to find a student over there, and he'll take care of it.
Yeah. But you know, the technology is the technology that we have domain over, you know, control over, lidar and imagery. It's amazing. Like the idea that I can fly like 5,000 feet above the ground and come out with a terrain model that is literally like, you know, people are arguing over a tenth of a foot. I'm like, this is the width of, you know, the thickness of my finger. Come on. Like, this is amazing technology. But when something goes wrong on a project, the surveyors and the engineers and the project owners are all going, oh, there's something wrong with the lidar.
Mm.
And it's not, you know, it's those two things that I said before. You know, it's either trying to merge the lidar with other geospatial data, not taking into account, you know, it's not just the proper datum, but the epic of the datum and the local adjustment. And everybody now is all processing their GPS data. You know, all the GPS data is pretty much black box process now too.
Yeah.
How many people do like really a network adjustment anymore?
It's a great
You know,
question.
it's all Opus, you know.
Yep.
It's like, okay,
Yes.
I stood here for 5 minutes. I'm done. So just those fundamentals of, you know, the fundamentals of measurement science, you know, and understanding the statistics and certainty. I think that was another really a light bulb that went on for me. And I sat in went to Fresno and sat in one of my first surveying classes. And I thought, I didn't know anything about surveying. Like, I'm going to go out and like use an instrument and measure stuff and tell people where things are and such and such. And I took a class in least squares adjustment from Dr. Mungie, and I realized that the profession is not about telling people a coordinate. The profession is telling people what level of confidence they can have in that coordinate.
Mm. Yeah.
That's some serious math right there. Is the least squares adjustment or whatever. I forgot when that first came out. I remember that was a big deal, right?
Yeah.
When least squares, I forgot the
like
person.
that type thing.
Yeah. No, but I mean the person that figured it out, like
the person that figured it
with
out
like an
yeah.
abacus or whatever.
Right, right, with a slide rule or something.
Yeah,
right.
no,
High level.
It's crazy math.
Yeah.
No question. And like, is all this repeatable? That's the biggest thing, right? You know, I look at like, you mentioned it. First of all, that statistic, I had to run to the restroom, but that statistic, like 9,000 geodesists in China and what was it, like 10 in the United
20.
States, 20.
20.
It's like what percentage of surveyors, and I don't put myself in this category, but what percentage of surveyors truly understand that the stuff that you're talking about, Karen, it's not a huge percentage.
Yeah, that's true geodesists, not surveyors that are good at it, you know.
Yeah.
Right. Right. But I think, you know, we're going to this is a really, really important topic right now because of the NSRS modernization.
Hugely important.
And transitioning to these new projections, while, you know, there are so many very, very good reasons for doing so, for people to be working on, you know, least distortion projections and tying everything to global positioning.
Mm-hmm.
It's all great, but boy, are we going to have a hard time like incorporating all the legacy data and getting everything to line up, because, you know, I always thought metadata was really boring and like, oh God, I don't want to really be bothered by that. Yeah. But honestly, I see so much incorrectly documented, either no documentation on the details of the coordinate system projection that's being used, or it's just incorrect. Like it's just wrong. Like I see so much data that just says NAD 83.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, it's because in the GIS world for a long time, it didn't matter. Nobody cared about, you know, a half an inch or 2 inches.
Sure.
So it's going to we're going to need to get a lot smarter about this in the next, over
really
the next
quick.
10 years to make this transition.
Yeah. Yeah. And like the people that, are the authorities in this, a lot of them are retiring, like you mentioned earlier. A lot of that mentorship isn't happening any longer. I mean, it's like we're headed down a path that is pretty concerning, honestly.
It is. I hate to be like, Miss Doom and Gloom, but but I have to say, like, what you guys are doing is so important and so wonderful, because the years that I've spent at ASPRS, everyone was always, and when I first arrived on the scene at ASPRS, I can tell you, people were just like, oh my God, a young woman. Yeah. And I got all kinds of attention, like, come to this working group, come here, come there. I got mentored by so many really brilliant people.
Yeah.
But then, as I went through my career, the concern was, where are the young people? Like, where are those people that are going to come behind us? Like, what are we going to do? And I've seen at Geo Week, now Geo Week's been going on for 7, 8 years now, since 2007. 18, 19, I guess, was the actual first Geo Week. But in the last couple of years, I've just seen the number of students and young professionals is growing, and they're asking so many good questions. I had so many young people come up to me at Geo Week and say, where can I learn photogrammetry?
That's awesome.
Talk a little bit more about teaching at Penn State too. Is it you do an online teaching at Penn State?
I taught in the online geospatial program, but that's
the
enthusiasm
of all the kids.
GIS. They're not They weren't kids, because it was the online graduate program. There's a lot of mostly adult learners.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah,
gotcha.
Which is really great program, by the way. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I do want to allow you the opportunity to talk about, like, one of your career highlights was the statewide mapping program in North Carolina. I
think that was probably a pretty big one, because, I told you the other day on the phone, like Earth Data and 3001, these two companies had a joint venture to build the first aeroscan lidar, topographic mapping lidar, with the company called Azimuth. That then Ron Roth, that became Leica eventually, right? That was the the Aeroscan lidar was the predecessor of all the Leica sensors that are out there. And we had serial number 1, and we were flying it. Earth Data was flying it, doing some, we were doing test flights and, little projects and things like that. Nobody had any software to process the data yet, by the way. There was no LAS format. We were still dealing with all the point cloud data in ASCII. I mean, it was a show. Anyway, but then, Hurricane Floyd happened in North Carolina. And there were some very progressive engineers there who had been working in the FEMA floodplain mapping program for a long time and were very strong proponents of GIS analysis. This company was called Watershed Concepts, that is now part of AECOM. And some of those individuals are still, they're still out there, very prominent in the field. And, and the state was willing to commit to the idea of we are going to collect this lidar. We're going to collect this lidar stuff. Yeah. So that was it's
huge.
We put the project together, like I explained. It took time to build, get the funding. Obviously, it was what year was that? Pretty big project. Well, Floyd happened in the fall of 1999. And then it took through the whole year 2000, we were writing, basically working on the proposal, working on developing the program. And then we started flying. We started flying like January 1, 2001.
Okay. What was the cost to do that big of a project?
Oh gosh, I don't say. I think they split it in half. They had two teams. They were both multidisciplinary teams that were engineers and aerial surveyors. I want to say that the lidar for and they did it in phases. So phase 1 was 50 counties, I think, and then they split that between the teams. I guess the lidar total value was probably somewhere $5 million, maybe.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah, and then the engineering, of course, was more. And there was surveying as well. There was a lot of surveying. Oh my God, the surveyor. It wasn't like it is now. Like we had to have base stations. We had to run base stations.
Oh yeah.
For differential correction to the aircraft. We couldn't fly more than 20 kilometers away from a base station. So ESP Associates was on our team, Joe Bruno.
Oh yeah.
Like those guys went out and put GPS antennas all over eastern North Carolina on people's on top of people's garages.
Okay.
They would, go to these people and be like, "Hey, can we put this antenna on your roof? And we're going to put a computer in your closet, and we're going to come by every week or two and pick up this floppy disk with the 1 second epic differential correction data." Yeah,
that's awesome.
It was fun. I mean, that was truly like, we are going to make this happen. Like we're just, failure is not an option. We're going to make it happen.
Yeah.
Whatever it takes.
Well, that is so cool. That's so cool. You mentioned like going to Geo Week, and I know you're passionate about attending events and stuff like that. And you mentioned like younger people coming up and asking you like, how do I learn about photogrammetry? What are some of the, what's the skill set that you think a young person getting into the profession, whether it be surveying, geospatial, photogrammetry, whatever, what are some of the skill sets you think are important for these younger folks to have in today's world?
I mean, I think what has made me really good at it, like what innate intellectual abilities I have that have made me good at it. I think oddly, it is kind of connected to why I was good at gymnastics too. Like I have very good 3D awareness, that allowed me in gymnastics to, flip and, just like how a person's brain processes that kind of complex movement and the geometry of all of that. That's probably a study in and of itself. But I think that's also partly, I don't know, like it's a chicken or an egg thing. I don't know if that, like I had that ability and that's what attracted me to photogrammetry, but it's kind of related to me. It's like visualizing space, and that I think, I mean, there's a lot of other, you probably thought I was going to say like Python scripting or, something along those lines. I mean, those are technical skills.
Got Claude
yes.
for that now,
we all know what we need to know there. But I think the innate ability, like that spatial perception, and that ability to kind of live in that 3D, in 3D, in your head, like, and navigate through the world that way. That is, to me, that makes, I think about what I love about surveying, or, why the bundle adjustment seems elegant to me. It's because it's just really, I love the geometry.
Yeah. I got to tell you, I've never heard surveying referred to as elegant.
No, first.
I'm going to use that.
How many surveyors have you met, Karen?
Photogrammetry, I said.
Yeah, exactly.
Can you teach or train geospatial awareness? Like the 3D
I think you
awareness? Is
got
that
it or
something that
you
you can
don't.
develop, or is that, you're given it, or you can go in a hole and it's like, here's a bunch of, I don't know. It's a question.
Well, that's why I brought up the piece about gymnastics, because actually when I was in elementary school, it just happened at the elementary school that I went to in West Hartford, Connecticut. the PE teacher was kind of a pioneer in what like kinesthetic awareness, movement education. So we did a lot of things in K through third grade PE. We didn't play any sports, but we did all of these like movement things, that exercises. And then in fourth grade, we were allowed to then choose a sport, an actual sport with like rules and skills and so on. But up until then, we spent a lot of time like climbing around on gymnastics equipment and being upside down, moving through space. Like he would turn the light. We'd have a room with a bunch of obstacles in it and, equipment and things. And he'd turn the lights off and we had to like move around and try not to bump into anybody, and I guess, it sounds kind of silly, but I honestly think that actually that created like neural pathways in my brain that allow me to think spatially.
Yeah. Think spatial. I love that.
What I think about is like if you get kidnapped and they put a black bag over your head and then you like get thrown in the van and then you drive off somewhere. Like some people can remember, it's like, we went a little bit, we took a left and then we took a right. And then like I would have no clue where we're at, It's
So-
like, it's just,
I think for me, like, it's come in really handy now in my life now that I ride horses because I am actually like, okay, this is a bad example, but I fall well.
There you go.
I would like to ask, was your PE teacher Tim Leary, or like that sounded like some real out there stuff that you guys are doing?
No. And he actually left our school and went and became a professor at James Madison University. And he's, he wrote books and he's actually became pretty well known in that field of movement education.
Yeah. So I was.
And this is why it's so, it's just so sad that is disappearing in public schools. And that also people are everyone's so focused on getting their kid into a sport and making them be a star at a certain sport, when really the more like because I see a lot of kids now come through I don't see them, but I know they come through gymnastics programs, particularly boys. They get involved in gymnastics and then they go off, they quit gymnastics, but they go off to do some other sport because gymnastics gave them the
like the coordination,
kind of the physical. But I think again, I think it's not just that's not just developing a physical skill; it's imprinting your brain. Also, it's produced it's thought patterns. Like I think how complex. Like, what is the complexity of stuff that goes on in your brain when you're doing, your Simone Biles and you're doing like this really complicated tumbling move or something? There's a huge amount of computation going on,
happening so quick,
right? Yeah,
it's almost unbelievable.
And that has to like burn those neural pathways in your head to be able to think and problem solve.
Yeah, when you're flipping around and then you can see the ground and then you make all the adjustments like midair to land on your that to me is just wild.
Right.
Yeah. I watched a whole documentary about cats, how they are able, like they understand as they're falling, like what they need to do midair. Like it's very unique to them. That's why they always land on their feet, they say, or whatever.
Yeah.
It's like really interesting YouTube documentary.
Yeah.
Gotta ask, Russ.
Don't even bother.
How you're just perusing entertainment options and you're thinking, let me just dive into this cat documentary for a couple hours? I mean, how did you get to that point?
I saw that come up on Facebook too.
So I don't watch television anymore. I just watch YouTube at night, and then I fall asleep, and it's kind of fun. And I'll wake up in the middle of the night because it just keeps playing, and it's just like my algorithm is
so your algorithm has led you to cat documentaries.
Yes. Through a series of unfortunate events. It's like cat documentary.
Well put.
That's awesome. That's great. All right, Karen, I got one more for you, and then I'll let Sean take it. So I'm curious, after everything you've seen over the course of your career, you've been doing this for a really, really long time, and you're still doing it. So what keeps you motivated? Yeah. I mean, what keeps you motivated? What keeps you excited about, what's happening now and, maybe what's happening, in the not too distant future?
Well, I'll tell you, at a certain point I got a little bit burnt out. At the end of my Earth Data days, I came to teach at Penn State, and I thought, okay, I'm just, and I've always felt like, there's that saying that like, those who do, those who can't do, teach.
Oh, yeah.
That
Yeah,
one,
yeah.
whatever that is. And it kind of started to get at me after a while. I was thinking, am I really relevant anymore? Do I even know what I'm talking about? Is this stuff I'm teaching, like, does anybody care? And or does it matter? And I would get, I can say, like, I can tell you, like, I have students out there. I think Jeremy Penton from Louisiana DOT, he was at the Gulf South region meeting, real tall guy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, I have some former students out there that, attribute where they are. It's in some small part to something that they learned from me. So that's great.
That's awesome.
So I felt like, okay, at least these fundamentals are still important. It's like that Leica quote that you had, the Leica sponsored quote at the beginning. The fundamentals are important. But it was really like, then I ended up getting back involved in ASPRS they needed an executive director, and I got arm twisted into doing that. And I thought I was just going to be doing it for like a year, and it's been 9. But I realized, like, and then going back into, leaving Penn State after 19 years and going back into private industry, and it was a little terrifying. Like, I don't know. Still can't tell you the names of all the fancy sensors and drones and yada, yada, yada. But what I know is still really important, and it's still really relevant, and it's more important than what the latest snazzy lidar sensor is.
That's true.
So
fundamentals still super important.
Yeah, and so I feel like I just, I want to. We've come so far in the development of this technology, and the application of it, and more and more men on the street. Like when I got started in this, and I started doing photogrammetry. This is before there was Google Earth, right?
Sure.
So people would say, like, "What do you do?" "Oh, aerial photography. I make maps." And they would be like, "Aren't all the maps already made? Didn't Rand McNally already make all the maps?" Like, yeah, really. I'm serious. This is what your neighbor would say when you told them what you did. At least now, like, they all know.
Yeah.
There was the geospatial revolution. Have you guys seen that video? The WPSU.
I don't think I've seen it.
No.
The geospatial revolution.
Okay.
Yeah, watch it. It was a series of like webisodes, like 15-minute or 5. Yeah, that was actually me and an old friend of mine who was a filmmaker at WPSU. Kind of dreamed that up, and it became a thing.
So cool.
Yeah,
that is cool. If it's on YouTube, I'm sure it'll come up in my algorithm.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it'll, because I said it now, it'll come up.
I believe the quote is, "Those that can do, those that can't do, teach. Those that can't teach Jim."
Oh, now that's wicked.
Oh, that's a burn.
It's from the movie School of Rock.
Yeah. Love that movie. Great.
Anyway, so I just feel like I'm somewhat vindicated that I actually can do.
For sure.
And
absolutely.
And I feel like I have, I worked a little while in government. I was in private industry. I've been in academia.
Yep.
I've seen all the different sides of the industry. ASPRS has been, it's been kind of like the linchpin, or the foundation rock. I got involved in ASPRS as a student when I was at Cal State Fresno, and never stopped. I was a region officer. I got recruited to, get involved in the national organization when I was still pretty young.
Yep.
And, I've stayed with it, and it's really, as I said before, it's so important because it is that peer review, peer support process that we need.
Yeah.
And also, what was the other thing I was going to say? Oh, yeah. And because the relationships persist regardless of who changes jobs,
Yep.
you know. My friend Bob Ryan always used to say, like, the photogrammetry companies, the aerial survey companies, it was like a bunch of bird cages. And, you know, every once in a while, someone would come and like hit the side of the cage and the birds would fly around and land on different perches. But we were all the same birds, you know. It's just like, oh, you're working at this company this week and
Right.
you're at this company. And I,
that's
you know, I
awesome.
mean, that's still true. There not that many of us.
It's so true.
Yeah.
I think that's true for the whole geospatial industry, it feels like.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's cannibalize each other.
Yeah.
So, I mean, ASPRS has 1,600 members compared to, you know, the 20,000 people that go to Esri or what have you.
Right.
We are still pretty small, even as a professional society goes, you know, much smaller than.
Well, it's way smaller than it should be. That's for darn sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we're really awesome.
Yeah, no question. Do you know offhand like how many
Small and mighty.
Topodot? They're an original.
I know. They are an
Friend of the
OG
program.
friend of the program.
Topodot, if you didn't know, is a comprehensive solution to manage point cloud data, assess data quality, and extract topographies, models, analysis, and other forms of digital twins.
Yeah, geospatial data acquired along road, rail, utility, and other land survey applications present unique processing challenges.
The Topodot production process is designed to meet these challenges with the right balance between automation and quality, thereby ensuring complex project requirements are met at the lowest possible cost.
And I know you've heard about these guys, but to find out more, go to topodot.com. Safety Apparel is another one of our long-term supporters of the show, born from the lack of quality and functional gear in the safety industry and frustrated to find no other options. Matthew Stansberry has reinvented safety apparel with the highest quality materials and most functional and versatile vests the safety industry has ever seen. They call it the Party Chief.
Rightfully so.
Yeah, right.
With many applied options, including, but not limited to, silkscreen, sublimation, patches, embroidery, and heat transferred images, they can provide your company with the clothing and art you need to look sharp and professional.
Yeah, that's right. Send Matt an email with your needs, and he will do the best he can to get you headed in the right direction. That email, info@safetyapparel.us.
How many certified photogrammetrists there are? Maybe active certified photogrammetrists? Do you guys have any idea what that number is? I'm just curious.
It's a few hundred.
That's it.
That's wild.
Wow. That's crazy. That should be a much bigger number.
Yeah.
Wow. How about you, Russ? You got anything else before we let Karen get out of here? This is your opportunity. You're talking to a legend here, Russ.
Yeah,
I realize that.
He's one of my bosses. He's the boss of the ASPRS. There's so many things. You're such an interesting person. Can I just go through a couple things and you say if it's even true or not that I'm saying? Like, were you involved with Katrina, the relief effort on the ground? Is that true?
Not on the ground, but actually, yes, because I had just gone to work for URS, and they had this contract with FEMA, HEMTAP, that they that they did housing inspections, wind water line delineation, storm surge modeling, and so I literally started as soon as it happened, I started calling people like who's going to be flying such and such. It ended up that 3001 was flying ADS-40. They were flying digital imagery. It wasn't very well controlled. It was, whatever. We're just flying it quickly. I had a 2 terabyte hard drive was like the size of a concrete block. And they'd process the data in their office in Gainesville overnight, just quickly process it, put it on a plane, fly it up to Manassas. And I would go to the airport. I did delegate that eventually to pick up this hard drive and take it to URS office. And then I would make 2 copies of it. And I took one to,
that's awesome.
Mike Sloxon at NOAA at Silver Spring, and I took the other copy up to Earth Data where people were looking at the imagery and digitizing the housing, identifying damaged buildings.
Crazy.
That became that I became, and we, so people started trying to get together and figure out who's got what data, what can we do? Because it was such a big disaster. And the data handling, the data management, I mean, it's still a problem. But
Yeah.
in those days, we were basically sneaker netting hard drives around, big hard drives around. And that disaster launched the USGS
Wow.
HDDS, hazard disaster distribution system. Still exists. But if you go in there and look at all the history of all the disasters that they've collected imagery and data for, Katrina is the first.
Crazy. I just think of the Russ. I mean, you met him. I'm Karen. I'm sure you met him. Are you talking about the student, Nickel State?
I was
student?
literally the same
Go
thing
for
where
it.
we've come in 25 years. Yes, please go ahead.
for it.
It's so fun.
Yeah. But the kid, I think he won the poster competition, right? At the ASPRS Gulf South region event, where he's using some sort of AI application to help determine, I guess, the maybe the level of repair that's needed on some of the roofs of these houses that were affected by hurricanes and other disasters.
That's so cool.
It was so cool.
Yeah. He trained a model to prioritize based on how much shingle and tarp was showing on a house. And like you said, to your point, so we went from that point in Katrina in 2000 whatever to the point where someone could fly a drone with an AI model and tell the government or the whoever's doing helping people where to focus their efforts on. Technology can be so incredible.
One of the questions you had on this paper for me, it said, if you could sit down with the 2005 version of yourself during those early statewide LiDAR projects, what advice would you give yourself?
Yeah.
And I'll say this is true about Katrina as well. We had the ideas. Like we knew what was possible. We kind of had the data, but and it wasn't even just, we developing the tools, but putting the workflows together and getting the buy-in, getting the support, getting the buy-in, getting the tools created, having some system of quality assurance, quality control. It takes a long time. In 2000, when we started putting together the team for North Carolina floodplain mapping, we went to Esri, and because Watershed Concepts had a good relationship with Esri, and I kind of had a semi-decent like a very fledgling relationship at that point with them. And we went and asked them to be on our team exclusively, which was a big deal because Esri would never do that. But we asked them, please develop we need you guys to develop the software that's going to allow us to distribute this data to the users.
Yep.
So you got to set up your ARC server, blah, blah, blah. Do you know how long it took them to come up with the ingest of LiDAR point cloud into ArcGIS after that? 10 freaking years. That's how long it took.
Yeah.
Things take a long time.
It's like steering a battleship, right?
Yeah.
Yep. It does. And so don't get frustrated. And also you don't, I don't know. I look back, because I am getting old now, and I think, you just look back at how different things were, huh?
Karen, I just read about a shot, anti-aging shot.
A vaccine.
A vaccine. Yeah. I think, don't worry about getting old.
All right.
They'll take care of it. Yeah. It'll be solved in a couple of years.
Yeah. I think you got everybody says this too about, everybody expects everything to happen so quickly now.
Yeah, that's true. What a huge change.
So I don't know. I don't, good luck next generation.
That's going to be one of my takeaways right there. Ross, anything else before we let Karen go?
No, I just, your tenure is the only tenure I know at the ASPRS, but so it's the best tenure, but.
No, thank you. Well, you guys we've got to come up with a succession plan because, I'm kidding. Immortality is probably not an option for me. So, and I do have some other things I would kind of like to do yet that are, I got a couple more of these horseback riding vacations planned, and
Yes, you were telling me at Geo Week about a very interesting one where you were going to.
Yeah.
I think it was the Lawrence of Arabia route you were going to.
Yeah, well, I
Oh,
had just
gosh.
come back from Argentina, which was fabulous. And then I was so excited, I booked another trip right away to go to Jordan
Oh, wow.
in October and basically like travel the route through Jordan where, from Petra down through the Wadi Rum.
All on horseback.
I don't know, on horseback.
Wow.
Yeah.
It may
Don't
not.
know I don't know if it's going to happen, but
Yeah, I was just say it might not happen, unfortunately.
Yeah. Have to
We'll
wait and
see.
see. Sean, you got one more question?
I always do. Karen, it's been a blast. One last question we ask everybody. Do you have a mantra that you live by?
well, I just like
Just don't give a shit and go for it.
Good luck,
That
younger
is a-
generation.
maybe I probably should get one. I think that would be a good idea. I don't know.
Good luck next
I
generation.
think
We'll get that.
one of the things about having horses, you gotta get up and feed them they gotta be fed every day, twice a day.
Yeah.
And you know what? They don't give a crap about my phone. They don't give a
Yeah.
crap about
Your
photo. They don't
problems.
get nothing. They live in a very they live in a very different
Yeah.
world. And I think if I just get a few minutes of that
I love
clarity,
that.
that kind of like moment of like clarity
Yeah.
each day just by like going out and feeding my horse, that kind of keeps me going.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Just, some innocence there.
Some
Of course, then I always get
stoicism.
pissed because like something's broken or the tractor's not
Mhm.
working or the
Yeah.
whatever,
Right.
the stress on top of it. But oh well.
Yeah. Oh, well. Well, Karen, I got to tell you, it's been a pleasure chatting with you. This has been a great conversation. I'm
Yeah,
glad.
thank you. I really enjoyed it, and it turned out to be very totally different than what we planned.
It normally
which was
does.
great.
That's exactly how
Really
we roll.
I think for anybody who's out there watching this and maybe knows me, I think I told a lot of things
Yeah.
about myself that I never did
Great.
before. So
Awesome. Appreciate you being candid on
Yeah.
there. It was
that's
awesome.
great.
Russ, thank you, buddy. Appreciate you being here. And,
Thank you.
Look forward to seeing you next week.
Next
than that,
week.
Sean, are you good to go?
I am good to go. You ready?
I'm ready. Let's get
Let's
us out of
do
here.
it.
Yep. Good first episode. Great first episode in the new studio.
The new studio
more
did
Jethro
not
Tull.
disappoint.
Little Jethro Tull. Let's get Jethro Tull back in here.
We want more Jethro.
Right. Adding value, making friends. We continue to do that every
Check that
episode,
box.
even in the new studio.
Doesn't matter where we're at.
Doesn't
Adding
matter.
value and making friends.
You betcha. If anyone would like to be a guest on a future show, shoot us an email at info@geoholics.com. I believe we're booking into late June at this point.
Yeah, I think we're in June.
Huge thanks to this week's featured partners, Emlid, Topodot, Altair Central, Leica, David Evans and Associates, and our good friend Trent Keenan at Diamondback Land Surveying. Could not do any of this without you. Jethro Tull, Aqualung, available everywhere. Until next time, everyone, a couple of my takeaways. Think spatially. Only Russ would watch a cat documentary. We're all the same birds. Good luck next generation. Most importantly, be safe and healthy.